Daisy and the Trouble with Life by Cass Gray. For Natasha. Chapter 1. The trouble with life is it's so not fair. My mom says that sometimes life is like that and that I should take this opportunity to think about things. It's all right for her. She's not the one having to sit here trying to think about things to think about. Thinking can be really hard when you're my age. Especially when you're grounded. Excuse me a minute. I need to go somewhere. Chapter 2. The trouble with being grounded is it's 50 trillion boring. You absolutely can't go anywhere at all. There's absolutely nothing to do and absolutely no one to play with. Mom says I'm lucky that she's even allowed me downstairs into the lounge after what LV done. She says that most moms would have sent me to my room for about 100 years after what LV done. I bet Gabby's mom wouldn't. My best friend Gabby never gets grounded. Even when she drew on her lounge wallpaper with felt tips, Gabby didn't get grounded. That's the trouble with moms. You can't swap them for other moms when you need to. Sorry, I need to go somewhere again. Chapter 3. I don't know why it's called grounded anyway. If you ask me, if someone says you're grounded, then it should mean you have to stay on the ground. No hopping and jumping, flying or parachuting. That's what grounded should mean, staying on the ground. Whether it's inside ground or outside ground, it shouldn't make any difference. As long as you're on the ground, you should be okay. Both my trainers were on the ground in the hallway this morning when Gabby called for me. Gabby is my secret sister. We're in a secret club. In fact, it's so secret, only me and her are in it. Every Saturday we take it in turns to be club leader and think of things to do. Last week it was my turn to choose, so we dug a mud trap in my back garden. Then we magicked Tiptoes, the cat from next door, into a lion and tried to get him to fall into our trap. But he wouldn't. He just stayed on Mrs. Pike's wall and refused to come down. That's the trouble with cats. They only ever want to do cat things, not lion things. In the end we had to bang him down with a spade. Gabby hit the wall with the spade handle and I kicked the wall with my trainers. Tiptoes jumped down then all right. He jumped down off the wall on the very first bang. Only not into my garden, into Mrs. Pike's. He never comes into our garden anymore. In fact, I didn't see him on the wall for 5 days after that. Gabby says he must have seen us making the mud trap, and it would have been better if we'd magicked him into a hippopotamus. Hippopotamuses love mud. Gabby's definitely right, so that's what we were going to try today. A better spell and a bigger trap. Except we can't now, because I'm not allowed out to play. Thanks to Mom. Excuse me a minute. I need to go somewhere again. Chapter 4. When Gabby called for me this morning, I was dressed and ready and everything. I saw her walking up the path from the lounge window. She brought her own spade to help dig the trap with, a stick for stirring the mud and hopefully some words that rhymed with hippopotamus. That's the trouble with writing magic spells. There are hardly any words that rhyme with hippopotamus. I promised my mom I would stay grounded on the ground in the back garden with Gabby. I promised I wouldn't lift my feet up off the grass or anything, apart from when I needed to put my foot on the spade, but she said, "Stop right there." Sorry, Gabby. Not today, Gabby. Daisy's grounded. Daisy did something extremely naughty yesterday and she'll be staying indoors today. I'm sorry to spoil your fun, but it's important that Daisy does some long hard thinking today. She needs to think long and hard about the naughty thing that she did yesterday. And most importantly, she needs to learn her lesson. How poo is that? Oh! I need to go somewhere again. Chapter 5. The trouble with long hard thinking or even short hard thinking is it makes your eyebrows ache. Especially if you've spent all week trying to think of words that rhyme with hippopotamus. Whippoplopobus, zippywhat-a-fuss, kipper platypus, drippospottiness. I've tried absolutely everything. But none of them work. That's the trouble with magic spells. If they don't rhyme properly, the magic doesn't work properly either. Anyway, I've given up thinking about hippopotamuses now. What's the point of having a magic spell that rhymes really well with hippopotamus if you can't use it? I'm not allowed out to play with Gabby today, so we can't dig a bigger mud trap and we can't turn Tiptoes into a hippopotamus. Thanks to MUM, Gabby and me can't do any secret club things at all today. So that's that. My mom says if I keep frowning and the wind changes, my face will stay that way. Well, she should have thought of that before she grounded me. It's totally her fault I can't go out to play with Gabby, and it's totally her fault I'm having to frown so much. I mean, just think. If it had been windy this morning when I opened the front door, my face might have turned into the worst frowning face in the world. Forever. And who would have been to blame? It wouldn't have been me. It wouldn't have been Gabby. It would have been Mom. It would have been totally all Mom's fault. And our front doors. Oh, dear. I need to go somewhere again. Back in a minute. Chapter 6. The trouble with our front door is it sticks. You have to pull it really hard to open it. I pulled it really hard when Gabby called for me this morning. I pulled it so hard I nearly squashed myself against the wall. Mom thought it was really funny. So did Gabby. But they weren't the ones who got squashed. How would they like to be grounded and squashed at the same time? The trouble with being squashed by a door is it makes you gulp. And it makes your eyes bulge. Gabby said I looked like a goldfish. Mom said she should take a photo of me and send it to Freddie. Freddie is my goldfish. Was my goldfish. Kind of still is my goldfish. But we had to give him away. We gave him to Mrs. Pike to look after. Mrs. Pike is the lady next door. She's got a garden pond. That's where Freddie lives now. I didn't want to give Freddie away. I wanted to keep him and teach him to talk, but the trouble was, he kept jumping out of his bowl. The trouble with jumping out of your bowl when you're a goldfish is you end up on the carpet. The trouble with carpets is they're nowhere near wet enough places for goldfish to live. Flip knows why Freddie kept jumping out. Mom said it was because I kept feeding him live ants. She reckoned Freddie must have got live ants in his pants and all that wriggling must have made him want to keep jumping out of his bowl. Trouble is, goldfish don't wear pants. I think Freddie kept jumping out of his bowl because he thought he was a dolphin. When he was living in the sea before he came to our house, he must have met some dolphins who showed him how to do dolphin tricks. If I was a goldfish, I'd much rather be a dolphin because dolphins are by far the best fish around. Dolphins know how to stand on their tails without sinking, and they can balance balls on their nose and even jump through hoops. Without ever landing on a carpet. Freddies can't. That's the trouble with goldfish who'd rather be dolphins. They can't do tricks without falling out of their bowl. Even if you've got quite a big bowl with weed and gravel in and everything. The trouble with weed and gravel and everything is you have to keep it clean. Otherwise the water in your goldfish bowl goes green. We came back from holiday once and you could hardly see Freddie. Mom said his water looked like pea soup, which is the worst kind of soup in the world. Mom said the suitcases would have to wait, and before we'd even unpack she put Freddie in a saucepan of clean water and then wiped all the green stuff off his bowl with a cloth. I wanted to have a bath with Freddie because it would be much more fun for him than a saucepan, but Mom wouldn't let me. Which isn't fair because I was really dirty after our holiday and really needed a bath with Freddie. If you have baths with goldfish, you can make hoops with your fingers for them to jump through and teach them tricks that even dolphins don't know. But Mom said no. Under no circumstances am I allowed any alive fish in the bath with me at any time. Not Freddy. Not any goldfish. Not even a very small tadpole. Ooh. Sorry, I just need to go somewhere again. Chapter 7. The trouble with tadpoles is mine never hatched. The ones at school did. They were in a big jar on the window ledge in Mrs. Donovan's class and they hatched all right. And grew legs. And ate bacon. Mine didn't. The ones in my bucket just stayed like dots. Mom says I shouldn't have put the ham and live ants in until they'd hatched. But I thought if they saw the ham and live ants, they would get hungry and then they would want to hatch quicker. But the ham went moldy and the ants crawled out. Then the water went smelly. And the dots just stayed like dots. That's the trouble with frogs' pond dots. Sometimes they don't know what they're meant to do when you put them in a bucket. The trouble with buckets is the more you fill them, the heavier they get. When buckets are really heavy, you can hardly carry them at all. Heavy buckets do things they're not meant to do. Which isn't your fault. One day I was helping my mom clean the car and I filled our big red bucket with soapy water. Actually, I put the water in first with a hose and then I put some bubble bath in afterwards. Mom didn't know I was using bubble bath. She thought I was using normal car bath. But I thought the suds would be better if I used bubble bath. And they were. But the trouble with suds is they get really sudsy and grow until all you can see is suds, and you can't see how much water is in the bucket. Which isn't your fault. So when you try to lift the bucket and pour it on the car, the water goes the wrong way and spills all over you. Which isn't your fault either. It's the suds' fault. My mom said it wasn't the suds' fault at all. It was my fault, and if I'll ever use bubble bath on the car again, she will make me pay for some new bubbles out of my pocket money. Which isn't fair or my fault. The trouble with pocket money is Mom never gives me enough. I'd like to see Mom buy all the sweets she needs with only the pocket money I get. If you ask me, my pocket money should be at least 100. Sorry, got to go again. Chapter 8. The trouble with tummy trouble is you never know when you'll have to run to the loo. One minute you feel all right and then the next minute your bottom tells you to run up the stairs as fast as you can. It's all my mom's fault I've got tummy trouble. If she gave me £100 a week for my pocket money instead of 50p, I wouldn't have run out of money, or got tummy trouble or got grounded. That's the trouble with having pocket money that isn't enough, it gets you into trouble. Including tummy trouble. If you ask me, my pocket money should be at least £100 a week. No, a day. Actually, a minute. Then I'd be able to buy all the sweets I need without them ever running out. My mom says that I should suck more and crunch less. Then my sweets would last much longer. It's all right for her. She can control her teeth. I can't. No children can. You have to be at least 25-ish before you can control your teeth. Or your eyes or your arms or your fingers. Especially if it's a strawberry dib-dab. Strawberry dib-dabs are totally my favorite sweets. The lolly bit tastes all strawberry-y and the sherbet feels all lovely and tingly and fizzy on your tongue. No children can control their teeth when they're eating strawberry dib-dabs. No children called Daisy anyway. If you're eating a strawberry dib-dab and your name is Daisy, then you just have to crunch. The trouble with crunching is, after 4 or 5 bites the lolly is always gone. That's because lollies are always too small. I tried really hard to suck a sweet once, but in the end my teeth made me crunch. That's the trouble with not being about 25-ish. You just can't control your teeth, however hard you try. If after about 5 crunches you haven't got any bits of lollies stuck in your teeth, then the only thing you'll have left is the stick. The trouble with lolly sticks is you can't eat them. If you ask me, you should be able to eat the lolly stick too. If you ask me, all lolly sticks should be made out of more lolly, so that you can eat them all the way down. That's the trouble with people who make lollies. They don't understand how to make good sticks. They don't know how to put more sherbet in the packet either. Whenever I open my Dib-Dab packets and look inside, there's always too much air. Even before I've dipped in my lolly, there's loads more room for sherbet. About 10 times more at least. The trouble with air is you can't eat it. The trouble with sherbet is it dissolves too quickly and then turns into air. And that's without even the slightest bit of crunching. My mum says I should buy gobstoppers with my pocket money instead of strawberry Dib-Dabs. But I'd rather buy Dib-Dabs any day. If I had a gazillion pounds pocket money every week, I'd spend it all on Dib-Dabs. Because strawberry Dib-Dabs are so nice. Strawberry Dib-Dabs are too nice. You can't blame me if they're so nice and too nice.